All right, today we're going to learn about triangle congruency. In other words, how do we prove two triangles are congruent? There are certain postulates that allow us to do that. So the first one we're going to learn is side, side, side. And what this one says is if you have, for instance, CA that's congruent with RS, AB that's congruent with ST, and BC that's congruent with TR, then we can prove that these two triangles are congruent. We can prove that CAB is congruent to RST by the side, side, side postulate. Because the postulate states that if three sides of one triangle are congruent, then the two triangles are also congruent. The next one is called side angle side. So here we've got a side like TR that's congruent with WU. And we've got an included angle. Angle R is congruent with angle U. And then you've got the side RS and UV that are congruent. They've indicated all that with these markings. This one's congruent with that. These two are congruent. These lines mean those angles are congruent. Okay, so it says if two sides and the included angle are congruent, then you can prove that these two triangles are congruent. TRS is congruent with WUV by the side angle side congruence postulate. Finally, the third one we're learning today is angle side angle. That one says if you've got two angles that are congruent with an included side. So if you've got angle A that's congruent with angle D, an included side such as AC that's congruent with DF, and then the other angle on the other side of the side, then you can prove these two triangles are congruent by angle side angle congruence postulate. All right, so the three we just looked at right now are side side side, side angle side, angle side angle. Now we're going to look at these examples and apply these, okay? So this is saying determine if these are congruent and you must state why, okay? So the first one right off the bat, I do see that they're giving us two sides that are congruent, but you have to remember that this third side is also congruent by the reflexive property that AC equals itself, AC. Okay, so this is side, side, side. Triangle ABC is congruent to ADC by the side, side, side postulate. On this one, I see they're giving us angles that are congruent, a side that's congruent, and if you remember, these angles are also congruent because they're vertical angles. So these two triangles are congruent by angle, side angle. Let's label them. Triangle ABC is congruent to EDF C by the angle side angle postulate. Next one, they're giving us right angles, so those are congruent. You now know that these sides are congruent by the reflexive property, and they're showing us that these angles are congruent. So these two triangles, ABC and CDB, sorry, ABC and DBC are congruent by angle side angle. Next one, we've got a side, included angle, and another side. So these two are congruent by side, angle, side. If you look at the next one, they're just giving us three angles that are congruent with each other. And remember, that wasn't one of the ones we talked about. As a matter of fact, you can have a very small triangle and a very large triangle that all have the same degrees. An equilateral triangle all have 60 degrees. Doesn't matter how large the triangle is. Okay, so you cannot prove something is congruent. You can't prove the triangles are congruent by three angles. So this is not enough information to prove that these two are congruent. And the final example right here, we've got two angles that are congruent with each other. But look, these two sides, the angle is not included. So we can't have SSA or even worse, ASS. That is not, that's not a postulate that helps us to prove congruency. So there is not enough information for this one.